Well, hello YTPC. This is another entry in the home blenders of the YTPC playlist. First, I wanted to apologize for the delay in getting another video up. With my wife out of town and kids, school, and all that. It's been lucky to even get some time to smoke a pipe the last week or so, much less sit down and do a video. So I apologize for that. But I did want to just go out of my way and just absolutely amazed at how many people are interested in doing a home blending section of the YTPC. I think that's really cool. I'm excited to get things going. So, one of the things that kept coming up in people's comments was, they didn't know how to get started or what to do. And I was thinking about that. That's actually, how I had the same thing. I wanted to get started and how do I go about it? And, this is 100%, this is just my advice on how to get started with your blending. And it's not really original to me. It's really taken from the home blending episode from the Country Squire podcast from Bo and JD and the crew there. So, first I just kind of wanted to go back over some of the basics that we talked about. There's, in my opinion, two types of home blending. I have what I'm called component blending, which is, mixing Virginias with Burleys with, all this. And then label blending. And label blending is when you mix two already mixed blends, just to your own specification. See what you like. Nothing wrong with that. Or kind of blending, you may want to add some Perique to an existing blend or things like that. But label blending is where you're mixing existing blends together to come up with something new. And component blending, well, obviously getting started in label blending is pretty easy. Buy, a couple of blends, mix them up, and there you go. But component blending, this is where I'm going to rely on what I learned from the Country Squire podcast and just kind of give you some advice there on it. What I would do is go and order you the basics, the base components. And your base components are going to be your Virginias and your Burleys, by and large. Get you 2 ounces of light Virginia, get you 2 ounces of red Virginia, and get you 2 ounces of Burley. Now, the prices that I looked up are from pipesandcigars.com. They obviously do not endorse, I don't have a deal with them. This is just, they've got the best selection, in my opinion, of looking for blending types of tobacco. So the prices that I get for them are from that as of today's Sunday, as of Thursday or Friday. So 2 ounces of light Virginia from Lane costs $2.34 an ounce, of $4.68 for 2 ounces. Red Virginias cost $8.12 for 2 ounces. Burleys for 2 ounces cost $4.68. Then what I would do is at least get these condimentals. Get you an ounce of Latakia, an ounce of Turkish blend. Just kind of, I would not stick to a particular type. Get you a blend of Turkish just to kind of get a feel for it. Then once you get going, you can kind of start doing different things with your Turkish. An ounce of Cavendish. Now, Cavendish is not is not a particular type of tobacco. It's a style or processed tobacco, or a tobacco that's undergone a process. I like Green River Cavendish. There's just not much to it. It's just lightly sweet. You can get what you want, okay? But more than an ounce. That'll last you a while. And I use granulated Perique. You can get some ribbon cut Perique that's really wet and really juicy, but it's really hard. It's really hard to break up. I'd recommend the granulated. Latakia is $4.67 an ounce. A blend of Turkish is $4.25. Green River Cavendish is $3.89 an ounce, and the granulated Perique's $4.84, and they'll last you a long time, unless you're just making lap bombs or something. But for all that, if you got all that, and you can adjust accordingly to whatever you want, you're talking $32.79 for 10 ounces of tobacco. That's with shipping and all that. Now, you can buy 2 tins of plum pudding for that and have a third of the amount of tobacco. So it's a very economic way to get started. What I would do too, as far as like measurements, now I measure all my tobaccos by weight. So I do parts, 1 part, 2 part, 3 parts. If you do that, at some point you're going to need a scale and measure it out in grams and go that way. But if that's a little cost prohibitive, man, go to the grocery store, go to the drugstore and get you some measuring spoons. And as long as your parts are consistent throughout your recipe, 1 part could be a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons. So again, you don't have to spend a whole lot of big money on it. There are some good kitchen. You want a very good scale if you do it, one that's got a bowl that you can pour out of that measures in grams. You can do some good with that. But just to get started, you're talking a 12-pack of mason jars and not even $35 measuring spoons. So you can, you're talking about less than $50 to get started. Get you some masking tape and a Sharpie, and get you a mixing bowl. Get you a mixing bowl that you can kind of mix everything up in, glass or stainless steel or something like that, plastic. But then get you a notebook that you can journal in. And I didn't bring my notebook with me, but start with your basics, your base components. Smoke you a couple of bowls of just light Virginia. Just get that going, get the flavors, get the taste, know what's going through for that. In my notes here, I have a statement. To really get started, you can be in and around, to get fully equipped and get started, you can be into it for around $50. Yeah, Cornell & Diehl, and I'm a Cornell & Diehl fan, but Cornell & Diehl put out a starting blending kit for the total, when it was available, was for $130. Now, granted, there was some other tobaccos that had some toppings that you could put in there. It was essentially 3 times the amount of money what I just told you for a lot of other stuff. So you can get into this, if you do it yourself, you can get into this a whole lot more economically if you put it together yourself. So just jumping ahead on some notes there. But yeah, once you come up with a mix, the good thing is, man, you can't really mess up. The tobacco may not taste good, but it's still pipe tobacco, which is always good. Mix you a mix up. Get on the Facebook groups. Look up recipes. Ask people here on the playlist or in the comments section, just to give you some recipes and let you kind of play with it. Just mix you some stuff up. Before you do that, though, I would separate, take each of the base components, and I'd even do the condimentals. I mean, don't kill yourself on 3 days of smoking Latakia, 3 days of smoking Perique. I mean, that's strong stuff. But actually, Latakia straight's really not that bad. But do take your time with it. And what I would do, Missouri Meerschaum has some small tasting pipes. As you saw from the pipe story stuff, I've got those. I've got some hardwood or some little opera pipes that I found. Measure it in small bowls. Don't get the big bowls after it. And also, even if you're not one of these people that ghosting is a big issue and don't really care about it, be pretty religious on keeping your sampling pipes, your tasting pipes, clean. Give them a salt and alcohol treatment. Get the reamer out to them, or buy a bunch of Missouri Meerschaum. I think they even sell them in packs. Buy a bunch of Missouri Meerschaums and dedicate, one to Virginia, one to Burley. Because what you're trying to do is get the nuanced taste. You're trying to get all the basic taste together for the components. So you don't want a Latakia to filter into, when you're learning the components, you don't want a Latakia to filter into a Virginia or vice versa, or Burley to filter into a Cavendish when you're just doing the tasting. Plus, when you start doing your own mixes and doing your own recipes, ghosting can become an issue when you're trying to nail it down. So, I know sometimes ghosting and all that sort of thing sort of becomes a hipster kind of problem. But if you're going to do this, do take a little extra time, especially getting started, about keeping your pipe reamed and cleaned, and or new pipes for a new tobacco component, especially as you're trying to get started. That's a tip there. And again, the way I do my blends, there may be some other people that do different. Once I come up with the recipe, maybe 4 parts Burley, 2 parts Virginia, part Cavendish, and a half part Perique, something like that. That's actually oddly enough, what I'm smoking now. It's what I call deer stand. Once you get that done, mix it together, and then I'll smoke a bowl that night, just to sort of see what the flavor, initially is. Then I'll smoke it for a day or two. I'll let it sit for a day or two. And what that day or two is, you can start seeing a little bit about how the flavors are blending together. Just a little bit. You kind of start seeing which direction. And then I'll put it in a mason jar and put my masking tape and a Sharpie and create my label, put what date it's on there, write my notes in my journal about what it is, what I'm expecting out of it. And then I don't touch it for 3 to 4 weeks, sometimes even 6 weeks. What you're doing is you're letting those flavors and letting that tobacco intermingle with each other, and that's where your blend comes in. That's where the magic happens. And that's where it starts to kind of solidify into one tobacco blend rather than just a component. Sort of like a stew. The longer you let a stew sit and simmer, the better it's going to be and the more uniform it is. So that's what I do to get started. If y'all are interested, y'all got any other comments, any other suggestions, post it to the playlist. Reply here in this video. But it's a pretty simple hobby to get started into. It's a lot cheaper than buying a bunch of tobacco and paying markup on it, and you get to have a whole lot more fun coming up with your own blends and getting into it. So I hope you all enjoy it as much as I do. I'm really looking forward to this home blending, the HB YTPC, home blenders of the YTPC. I'm really hoping that the HB YTPC community really takes off. I'm really excited about this. So anyway, I'm on the road on a family outing, decided to sit out here, smoke my pipe and smoke a blend, and realized I hadn't talked to you guys in a while, and was really excited about it and had some notes I wanted to get out there. So hope you learned something. Love to hear y'all's thoughts. So anyway, y'all keep on piping, y'all keep on picking, and we'll see y'all later. Take care.